Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Church, First Center of Religious Science, broadcasting from New York City. Today's message is one I feel deeply, and it speaks to something many of us need. So the talk title is Affirming the Power Within. We talk about that all the time, but that's our title. Affirming the power within you. You're one with it. You're one with the one. So we have a living practice. Let's begin. Um, I want to take you back in time, if I can. This isn't your imagination, right? This isn't a history lesson. I want to bring you back to the year 1930. Most of us, many of you weren't alive. Some of you, no, you weren't. But during that time, the world was trembling because the stock market had crashed just a year or two before. The economy had totally gone bad, collapsed. The banks in America had failed. People just about everywhere were out of work. There was a shortage of food. For many, many people were out of hope. Back then, if you lost your job, there was no safety net at that point. The social programs that we have now did not exist. And why am I telling you all this? Because this is where Florence Scovel Shinn emerges on the scene at a time where people were praying for work, praying for food, just praying for a break. And Florence wasn't rich. Her money was absolutely gone, gone, because she was out of money. Her husband had passed away, and she was living alone in New York in a building where there was virtually no heat. From what I understand, it's freezing. She tried to do things to cover the windows because it was bitter cold. And what she would do in the evenings, she would walk along some of the nice streets. I don't know where. You can imagine Fifth Avenue or some places with beautiful storefronts, looking in at the warmth and, the things on display. And as the story goes, she would see her reflection in the mirror, not in the mirrors, but in the store windows. And she looked at herself thinking, what the heck has happened to me? Commenting that she looked weary and tired and beat, alone and lonely. And the line of inquiry was, how did I wind up here? I had more, I had this, She wasn't alone. The country was altogether in a pretty rough spot. And the thing that was notable about her is she had what I call positive expectancy, or she had this faith in her, because she wasn't accepting all of what was happening. I mean, evidence of it was everywhere in front of her. She didn't believe it was the only reality. So she had a practice, and her practice was different. It's very similar to what we do. We call ourselves practitioners. Every day, every single day, quietly and powerfully, she spoke a single line, which I found for you. The line is, "Infinite Spirit opens the way for my immediate supply." And that was her thing. That was her affirmation. It's not dramatic. She doesn't sound desperate. It sounds clear to me and steady and confident. She wasn't begging or pleading with God above to save her or fix her. She wasn't bargaining by saying, God, I'll do this if you do that. She was doing something powerful. She was making a declaration like we would do in an affirmative prayer. She was making a declaration to herself, to spirit, to life itself, knowing that she's connected to this abundant life. So knowing that this abundant life would never disappoint her. And it would be no surprise to any of you who are regular attendees that she started to demonstrate a different reality, because slowly her declaration started to take root. First thing happened, she inherited a little bit of money. It wasn't much, but you know how that goes. Everything, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It was a demonstration for her. So as I continued on studying her story, she did like to draw. You can see examples of that. She started drawing again, and she began to teach. And she always liked to write as well. So you can have a picture of what she was like a little bit. And she got busy doing those things, doing what we call the next right thing, whatever inspired her. she started becoming exactly the person she was meant to be, using what we call, again, positive expectancy. And her life didn't get immediately easy or easier, um, but she was making progress, and it was because she claimed her place in it. So if you want to have the kind of life, you got to first see it. You got to know you deserve it. Uh, so with that in mind, let's take a breath and really consider, because what we do isn't fix. We don't fix anything or anyone in this teaching. Uh, we align ourselves and we realize that we're supplied and supported. Florence Scovel Shinn, as gifted as she was, wasn't using magical words. She was, and we are, talking about connecting always with something deeper, something real, and being willing to trust in it again. So here's an important question. Maybe you could think of Florence walking past these beautiful shop windows. Is there any place in your life, any place you can think of, where you have any sense of weariness or any sense of despair? And if so, how are you handling it? How have you handled it? How are you handling it? Is there something here you need to affirm or something you would like to release? What within you do you think might be good to let go of? Whatever comes to mind, just breathe with it. Breathe with me. Breathe in through your nose and out. And let's speak this together gently. Infinite Spirit opens the way for my good right now. And again, Infinite Spirit opens the way for my good right now. And you don't need to know how it's going to happen. You don't have to force a thing. Just be willing and open to the idea that Infinite Spirit opens the way for my good right now. And that's how you begin. That's what Florence Scovel Shinn, that was her path. And that same path is available to all of us right here, right now. And, and most of you know my old stories by now. And I was thinking, again, as I was putting my notes together, my father would come out many mornings, I've told you before, and say to my mother, he was a big ham, come grow old with me. The best is yet to be. He'd always have a smile on his face. He was generally optimistic most of the time throughout my life experiencing him. And he's not the kind of person that would entertain heaviness and, all the world is falling apart and ain't it awful. That wasn't the way he would handle life. He was very positive, and he would speak in terms of having positive expectancy. And he really believed, life will get better. Life is getting better. The best is yet to be. And because he had that belief, he acted as though he had that belief. And he took what we would call today inspired action. Because if you maintain that, you're going to act that. And as you act that, you maintain it, you believe it, you're going to see doors open up all around you. So we have a moment now where we can tune in and reclaim something. The kingdom that we talk about, the kingdom, the presence, it's at hand. It's a presence that's never, ever in absence. So you live in it, you move in it, and you have your being in it. And here's something, because I'm going to pull an Emerson at this point. We're not in the conformity business. You can turn on all the cable news shows and you can be traumatized if you let yourself do that. We're not in the conformity business. We're here to express life and to express it with excitement and with positive expectancy. So that's an old line from all these teachers. We are in the express business. You're an infinite being, you're a spiritual being, and you can decide and you can change your mind and you can decide again. And you're here to express. You're not here to hide your light under any bushel of any kind. So think of yourself as this infinite being here to express life glorious, in a glorious way, to live as an individualized expression of the infinite itself, not as an edited version of ourselves, not something that's been dimmed down or not something that's shrunk down to please a world that's afraid of light. And Emerson, well, he knew it. He wasn't calling people to behave. He was calling people to become. That's a very beautiful thing I found about him. He wasn't trying to get you to conform or behave. He was calling you to become who you have come here to be. He said, and I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit, God help us when a thinker is let loose upon the countryside, because nothing's safe. All things are at risk. Not because the world is in danger, but because everything false will slip away. Everything false is in danger. Because when you wake up, or as he said, when a soul wakes up, when a human being begins to think freely, and when a human being begins to trust his or her own knowing and starts to live from the inside, from within, then all the old systems, the old beliefs start to slip away. Or Louise would say, when we really begin to love ourselves, you're not buying into any of that stuff anymore. Everything in your life begins to work. So the old systems, all that old stuff begins to tremble. And that is the energy I want to bring forward in today's lesson, because I know some of you have gone through a lot. You felt tension. Some of you have tried to fit into various boxes that other people want to put you in. It could be your parents, it could be your relatives, it could be your employers. I mean, you're trying to fit into places that don't serve you any longer. Or maybe you're trying to, or you're being quiet just to keep peace. You don't want to disturb anybody. Or maybe you're just trying to walk the line while there's something within you that really wants to express itself. Maybe even you haven't given yourself that chance just yet. So let's be clear. We're not saying anybody's wrong, the family, the members, the bosses, anybody else, but there is that which is within you that really is here to express and to be authentically you. So we're not rebelling just for the sake of rebellion, but what we're talking about always is tuning in and allowing yourself to receive the messages that you will receive from Spirit, because we all have this inner guidance. We play with it. We have an inner guidance system. If you ask yourself, what's the most self-loving thing I can do in any given moment of choice, you'll always have an answer. And I would suggest go with the first one, not the second one where you start to rationalize, but go with the first. That thing inside of you is very real. So, and it's longing to express. All the world is evolving, and life is evolving through you and through me, through all of us collectively. We're here to take care of ourselves, and we realize that everyone's evolving in their own place, in their own perfect time. So we're here to trust our own inner connection, our own divine intelligence. And increasingly, you're going to tune out the external noise because you remember who you are. And yes, that clarity can be unsettling sometimes because your inner knowing and what you know to be true isn't always going to match what's popular or what's easy or what's generally approved. But it's yours, and it will be real. So no one in this teaching is here to tell you what to think. I'd never do it. I don't think any of the teachers I've ever had would either. We're here to invite you, like Florence and like Emerson and like Holmes or Louise Hay or even Socrates. We're inviting you to think for yourself. And we're telling you that you have it. It's within you. It's informing you. It's wooing you. It's always there trying to get your attention. So please, please, please consider inquiring within, knowing that it's there, knowing that it will respond, and begin to trust yourself and trust that information, that spiritual information that rises in you. It comes to you usually when you're quiet, and it will inspire you to move from, again, the inside out. It isn't reactive. It's like you'll know, and you'll know that you know. And then I'm going to encourage you next is to follow that divine compass, even when there's no map, because there's real power. That's where the real power is, and you're always connected to it. I've done classes over the years. What have the advertisement will be like a big plug. There's the receptacle. Plug into that power because it's within you. There's power for good in the universe. It's there for you to use. And our tendency when we're younger is we're seeking everything outside of us. And what I'm talking about here is you have everything you need within. And knowing that is the real freedom. That's the sacred fire, the fire. There's no media, no government, no institution, and there's no fear that can touch that. And if you've been waiting for someone to give you permission to come home to your soul, well, this is it right now. So let's seal that, let's seal this with an affirmation and let it rise gently. And here it is. I trust what rises in me. I listen to what rises within me. I express life easily. I follow the light within. And you can say that with me if you like. I trust what rises within me. I listen. I express. I follow the light within. Breathe that in and know that your path is open. So let's keep going. And here's some good news. Affirmations can bring us back. They don't just make us feel better, they remind you of who you truly are. They remind you of who you are before the world told you anything else or before you started absorbing any of the beliefs. So affirmations are, some people think they're simple, but they're really actually very powerful. They bring you back. They remind you of who you are. Louise Hay said it like this: I am willing to release the pattern in me that created this condition. So think of anything, patterns, ideas, old stuff, resentments, all the usual suspects, and say to yourself, I'm willing to release the pattern in me that created this condition, this situation. That pattern could be people pleasing. It could be pretending I'm okay. A lot of people say, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. That word's always a little bit suspect. It's a quick word. So whatever it is, people pleasing, it might be fearing judgment. You know, you don't want people to judge you, so you quiet yourself down and lose your voice in the process a little bit. And here's the thing these teachers have given us, and especially Emerson, we're not here to conform. We're not here to survive someone else's idea of what we ought to do or someone else's version of what happiness should be for us. And Ernest Holmes himself, in a flash of spiritual clarity, gave us a great truth when he said this line. He said, we are not bound by precedent. Spirit is not bound by precedent. We are not chained to our own beliefs unless we choose to be. And he went on to say, the past has no power over us unless we give it power. So say with me, wherever you are, I'm not bound by the past. I'm not bound by anything. I am free to choose again right now. So in business, there's spreadsheets. You've all seen them probably, Excel spreadsheets. I don't like them. I do know how to use them. Here's the thing. We're not here to manage our lives like a spreadsheet. You're here to live. You're here to live, to learn, to express, and to trust the voice of spirit that's a part of you. So I want to ask you something important, and I'll pause after this for a second. I've already asked you a similar question. Where, if anywhere, have you been making yourself smaller to stay safe? Where have you kept your voice quiet or held back? Where have you not taken that risk to say what you need to say? Or where have you been living someone else's script? When I was younger, my parents had a script that I'm sure they would have preferred I followed. You can understand that for children, but now as adults, where are you living someone else's script? Or where, if anywhere, have you been making yourself smaller and just, I guess, hiding your light under a bushel? Where are you doing that instead of your soul's truth? Just notice anything that comes up. And if so, you don't have to fix it now. I'm always going for just awareness. So we don't have to fix anything. But you can always begin again. And you can say to yourself, here's an affirmation. If anything came up, you can say, I return to myself, or I return to myself now, and or I trust my inner wisdom. And if you've got some of these things in your past, you can say, I am not who I used to be. I am who I choose to be now. So let's take a deep breath in. Okay, because we're exploring things. Let's bring it down now. Think about our bodies for a second. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath into our being, because everything we've talked about so far is about trusting life. It's about trusting our voice again. It's about encouraging us to choose our own tone. We're encouraging ourselves to break with the past, the old ideas. And this isn't just a good idea. When you do this, it's something you feel, it's something you live, it's something you plant. New ideas. Louise Hay said, every thought we think is creating our future. And see, the thing is, the universe totally supports every thought you think. So the question becomes, what kind of future are you planting? And the answer begins here. So take a breath with me, a slow one. Inhale and exhale. So I would like you to think about placing your hand over your heart for a second, or over your stomach, wherever is comfortable, wherever is your center, and quietly say to yourself, I am planting something new in me today. I'm planting something new. Whatever comes to mind. It might take time, but I'm planting something new. You can think, I may not see the results this weekend, but that seed, if nurtured, will become your life. Ernest Holmes would say, the word we speak is the law of our life, and nothing can hinder its operation but ourselves. That means what you keep affirming, especially with feeling, what you're planting with intention is definitely going to grow. So it's not about just hoping. It's not just about wishing. It's not even about quietly affirming. There's a moment where we decide, and we decide with feeling, we decide with clarity. And no one taught this better than Raymond Charles Barker, our founder here at First Church, First Center. He's the person who wrote the book, The Power of Decision. He didn't just talk about metaphysics, he embodied them. He trained Louise Hay. He taught in New York during somewhat turbulent 60s and 70s. And when people were drifting in a sea of fear and conformity, he thundered from the platform. He said, decision is the spark that ignites action. And until a decision is made, nothing's going to happen. So he's really telling us, you have the power. You need to use it. Make a decision. So nothing moves until you move. Nothing changes until you decide. You can speak affirmations all day long, but if there's no decision behind them, they're just words. Other teachers have said there needs to be passion. Barker would say it. There needs to be a decision, because nothing happens until you really make a deep decision. Otherwise, you have empty echoes. But the moment you truly decide, deep down, the moment you say, I'm no longer available for that old pattern. I'm no longer at the mercy of that old story. The moment you say, I choose differently starting now, that's when the power rushes in. So let's say it together. Decision is the spark. I decide my tone, and I choose again. So I want to say this clearly. We can't force change. It doesn't work that way. It isn't about fixing your whole life today or tomorrow. It's about remembering who you are and claiming your spiritual authorship, remembering that you are one with the one. As you do that, as you wake up who you are and what you are and claiming your spiritual identity, then the right to write a new line in your story, you have it then. Even if it's just a line, even if it's just adding a little thing, a whisper, it will matter. It matters, because your decision is going to set the tone. It's going to set the atmosphere. And the atmosphere that's swirling around you, that whole consciousness, uh, attracts form. And the law of mind, as Holmes would teach us, responds not to the confusion. It doesn't respond to the begging, doesn't respond to your mixed signals. It responds to clarity. And if you're clear about who you are and what you are, and you love, accept, and approve of yourself, and if you have a certain clarity about these ideas we're talking about, life is going to respond to it. So here's my question for everyone. What decision have you been putting off that you know it's time to make? Maybe it's deciding to stop waiting for someone else's permission. Maybe it's deciding to let go of a belief that was never yours. Maybe it's deciding that your healing starts not when everything's perfect, but when you decide to begin anyway. So let's take a breath and repeat after me out loud if you can, or whisper to yourself. I decide to live. I decide to trust myself. I decide to release what no longer belongs. And here, let these words vibrate. You are not stuck, or you can say it to yourself, I'm not stuck, or I am not broken. And here's the thing, none of us are at the mercy of our past. As Barker thundered from this very platform, you are not a victim of circumstances. You are a creator of conditions. So what do you choose to create today? Let that question vibrate inside you now, because in just a second, we're going to take this decision and seal it with a vision. So let's enter a short journey together. It's a brief visualization where we begin to embody the future that we're choosing, tone by tone, step by step. And for now, just feel that stirring fire inside of you, that energy. Feel it rise in you. And that is spirit saying yes to you. So here's our vision. We've arrived at a sacred threshold. We have affirmed, we have decided. We felt the fire of I choose again. So now let the choice unfold, not just in our thinking, but in our being. Because the spiritual path isn't about just planting the seed, it's about becoming the garden itself. So let's take this step together, this moment to visualize, to embody the tone we've chosen. This is not a test. This is our chance to meet ourselves, not as we were, but as we are becoming. So as we draw in yet another breath, sit back quietly, or if you're in the world, just keep listening. Let your breath deepen. Let your jaw soften. Let your body relax a little. So we're going to imagine that we're walking on a path, any place that feels sacred to you. It could be a meadow, it could be a forest, it could be a sunlit city block in the early morning. Imagine yourself being wherever feels safe, open, spacious, a space that's yours. And you notice up ahead, in the distance, someone walking toward you. And they have a certain presence. You can already tell they're grounded, they're glowing, they're at peace. And oddly, they're familiar, not because you've met them before, but as you observe, you notice they're you. Not the past you, not the you that shrinks or doubts, but the you that has stepped fully into the tone that you have been affirming. The one who trusted and kept trusting and kept trusting. This is the one who decided and never looked back. This is your future self. And as they come closer, not in a rush, but with steady grace. And when you meet, you don't need to say a word to them. You just feel it. You feel them. You feel the calm. You feel the clarity. You feel the deep, sacred knowing. I've made it through. I've made it through. So now let this future version of yourself place a hand over your heart and hear them say to you, not out loud, but soul to soul, thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for choosing again. Thank you for staying the course. Thank you for planting the seed. Take all that in and let your own hand rest over your heart now, as if to seal this meeting. This isn't a fantasy. This is a memory in reverse. It's already in you. And every step you take and every breath you breathe and every thought you choose from this moment forward brings you closer to that embodiment. So now, with quiet willingness, no urgency, let's speak what your future self already knows about you. I am already becoming the one I was born to be. I walk in peace. I radiate clarity, trust, and joy. Again, I'm already becoming the one I was born to be. Feel that connection, feel that resonance, feel the tone, the power. That's all embodiment. You can open your eyes if they're closed. You're still right here, but you're not quite the same. And now we come to our close where we have a moment to anchor this with a blessing, a declaration, an affirmative prayer. Our affirmative prayer in the first person. I know there's a loving presence within me. I trust the wisdom that's in my own heart. I'm ready for new beginnings. I release what no longer serves me. I choose thoughts that bring peace, strength, and joy. I move forward with confidence and grace. And I'm grateful because it is already happening. And so it is. So, my friends, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for bringing your presence, your open hearts, your goodwill, your brave yes to yourself. If the talk or the lesson touched you in any way, I hope you stay on for the next part as we turn our cameras over to Jimmy, our anchor, our community connector and staff minister. Jimmy's going to guide us into the sharing. If you feel moved, if you feel moved to speak, say hello. Please let us know where you're from so we can at least welcome you. This is our gathering. This is our time. What we do here is sacred, and most of all, we're grateful to have you all with us. So thank you. And if you're watching this on replay, drop us a note. We get all your messages, and thank you for all of your goodwill. I appreciate you, and so it is.